Hey, did you know that I had a podcast? That's right, the Geekdom 101 podcast over on geekdom101.libsyn.com. They're basically long form episodes I put out every couple weeks where we talk about everything involving nerd culture, movies, video games, TV shows, music, everything under the sun, nostalgia and new stuff. We've had shows on Tarantino movies, the MCU, Disney films, everything you could possibly think of, and interviews with some really great creators and really important people that I think you would love. Check out the Geekdom 101 podcast. It is on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and Google Play. Geekdom101.libsyn.com. I promise you'll have a blast listening to the podcast. If you have a long commute or if you're at work or at the gym, the shows are over an hour, pretty much all of them, so you'll have a great time, I hope, listening to the show. I think you will. And thanks. Check it out. Once again, geekdom101.libsyn.com. So a bunch of stuff happened today, and I was unable to do my review on Dragon Ball Heroes Big Bang Mission Episode 7, which came out like 8 hours ago, I think. So here's my review for Big Bang Mission Episode 7. Now, Episode 6, the one that aired last month, was an improvement, I thought. I remember thinking, wow, this is not as terrible as most of these Heroes episodes. But I'm going into this not too optimistic because I kind of saw the preview and what was going to happen. And so I was a little bit like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. But still, I gave it a chance because I always give Dragon Ball a chance. Maybe I shouldn't, especially when it comes to Heroes. It's never good, or rarely good, that is. Rarely good. Rarely up to my standards, that is. But I figured, why not give it a shot? Because really, you never know. So all of the good guys are still looking for Few and the Universe Tree, because that's the objective right now. And so they get transported into this like other realm to find him. So Vegeta thinks he can destroy the Universe Tree. They see it, he wants to destroy it. Everyone else is like, well, what's this guy doing? Creates a giant energy ball and throws it at the Universe Tree. This was pretty well animated, I gotta say. It wasn't like Shintani level, like, Broly level from the movie, but it looked good. It looked good. And this backfired because the Universe Tree absorbed Vegeta's energy. So destroying the Universe Tree with Ki Blast and Ki Energy is just not gonna work. So Few appears and he's all cocky. He's like, thanks Vegeta for the energy. And it's funny because he has a line here where he says that gods cannot interfere with space and time. So that makes me wonder if he's referring to like Beerus and Whis and those guys about not being able to interfere with space-time. But that makes me wonder if there's a higher god. I mean, we had the Supreme Kai of Time, obviously. We know that character. She's in this universe, Heroes and Xenoverse and all that online. But is he maybe hinting that there's something higher? Or is he just saying that kind of the mid-tier gods can't interfere? Again, that line can be picked apart. It is Heroes. I wouldn't really think too much of it. But I can see some power scalers using that and saying, well, Few said this, so, Beerus and Whis can't compete with, like, Marvel characters or whatever, which a lot of the truth is, there's a lot of Marvel characters they can't compete against. It's true. But I wonder if that line, in fact, I think that line is going to be used in debates in the future because it's kind of a scaling line in a way, So then, in a pleasant surprise, Toa appears. That's right, the same Toa that is with Mira in Xenoverse, Xenoverse 2, Heroes. You know who Toa is. In a lab coat, which was a great look for her. I've seen that before in the Heroes manga, but now we're actually seeing it animated. And it looks like they didn't actually go into detail here about Toa's connection to Few. I guess we're all supposed to know that. You know what I mean? I've done videos on it in the past, so it's not really a big deal now. So basically, Toa says, I did it for you. And right before that, a bunch of the other heroes disappear, except for Goku and Vegeta from DBS, or the Capsule Corp Goku and Vegeta, the blue Goku and Vegeta. And Few doesn't even know what the hell's going on. So Vegeta attacks Few right now. This is interesting. And he goes for a punch. Few blocks it, and then some energy, this purple energy comes out of Few, and then Vegeta's like, oh, this reminds me of Cumber. And then Few says, oh, yes, Cumber's unleashed aura is indeed super interesting. So, Few has Cumber's aura. Very interesting. Again, this is no surprise if you've followed Heroes and, kind of the Few character. But it's interesting to see it play out in this, promo anime. And we actually see Cumber, like, chained up, getting his energy sucked out. So this scene coming up right here was actually pretty cool. So Goku goes in to help Vegeta. He goes blue. Vegeta and Goku are both in their blue forms. And then Fu, like, throws some negative energy into Goku and into Vegeta. And they both go into this, like, berserk mode. They're, like, in Super Saiyan Blue, but they're in this berserk mode. And they did this weird sort of, like, color animated filter. And it looks pretty cool. Like, I'm not going to lie, this looks cool. Like, they're going in berserk mode and Fu's like, oh, let's try out this experiment. He's just smiling and, but the way it was executed was fine. It's interesting because I've said it a million times with Heroes. Great ideas, bad execution. And ultimately, you can't tell a real story in like 8 minutes. You just can't. It's not really... You could, but not this kind of story. You know what I mean? Like, not a Dragon Ball story, right? They're supposed to be long. So, with that being said, when they execute something good, I gotta say it's good, and this was good execution. Fu notices that they only attack him and not each other, and he handles them. I mean, he just knocks them away like nothing. Pulls out his sword, slices like what looks to be like the air in front of them, and snaps them out of the rage form, and Goku and Vegeta go back to their base forms. So this is all part of Fu's plan here, as far as his control methods go. So Goku throws a Potara at Vegeta, and here I'm like, oh great. It looks like the rumor was true. And he says, Salsa gave me the Potara earlier. So they put it on and they become Vegito. Now, normally I would be happy because, when I was a kid, the Vegito Boo episodes were some of my favorite episodes. It was a one-sided squash. And had you ever told me that I would be kind of rolling my eyes at a fusion of Vegito, I would have never believed you. When Vegito came back in Dragon Ball Super against Zamasu, that was awesome. We were all excited when that happened and when we first found out. But here, because it's Dragon Ball Heroes, I can't find myself getting excited, because it's always a big disappointment. Like, almost always, right? Because this episode hasn't been too bad. But, I would have never thought I would actually groan at this because, again, it's stuff being squished in and we just saw... You know how Heroes is. I've talked about it every month. I'm not going to repeat myself. But they do fuse and make Vegito. But what I thought was funny is Vegeta says, okay, fine, but this is the last time. So it's like, dude, you said that like the last 3 times you fuse, like, you know what I mean? Like, get out of here. That must be the running joke, of course. But it's just weird because remember, they were Gogeta in the last arc. At the very end of the last arc, they made Gogeta blue. Against like Heart and those guys. So, and Zamasu. So, here we go again, And then even Fu goes, I saw this one on the prison planet, like, kind of like saying, the way his tone was like, this is boring. And he blasts Vegito with a ki blast. And the blast does nothing, and Vegito says, your experiment was a failure, Fu. And that is the cliffhanger for the episode. So, I gotta say, this episode was not as good as the last one, but it wasn't terrible. It actually was not as terrible as some of the previous episodes were. It was okay. It was all right. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it like a 5.5 or a 6. You know what I mean? That's what I would give this episode. It was all right, but it wasn't great or anything. It was okay. Unless you're a huge Vegito fan, which at one time, I am a huge Vegito fan, but this is Heroes. So no matter how much of a fan I am of something, Heroes kind of nullifies it a little bit because they always screw it up, like I said. But overall, this episode was not a screw up. I thought it went relatively well. And but again, 5.5 out of 10 in my opinion, maybe 6 if I'm being generous. I'm not looking forward to Vegito versus Fu next month as much as I would if Heroes was probably better produced and better written, but we'll see what happens. So, anyways, thank you guys as always for your support. I love you so very much, and thank you for everything. Hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk soon.